They said, we think you need a place with more structure and more guidelines. And they said they were going to send me to a place called Concept 90 in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, even farther away from home. And I said, well, let me call my company, since they're funding it. They said, oh, we already spoke to them. This is the only place they'll fund. So what do you mean it's the only place? Are you not going to let me look at the place? Not going to let me see where I'm going and like give me a choice of something? No. They said, this is the only place that your company will fund. I said, well, what are my options? They said, you go here or we can drop you off at a women's shelter and you're on your own. So here I am thinking, okay, I've only done 39 days. The court wanted a long-term 90-day thing, or, I mean, basically the judge said to me on that fifth court date, if you do 1 day less than 90 days, you're facing jail time. So here I am starting to freak out, going, oh my God, what do I do? So I'm in the middle of getting discharged and getting my things together, and I called Damien, again against court orders. And
but you've been talking while you were in rehab, right?
yeah, the whole time. But I called and I said, what do? I said, do you want to come pick me up? And I'll just like, I don't know, be a fugitive, go on the run. I was thinking like crazy thoughts because here I am. I had no idea what to do. I was just lost. I'm like, do I go to this place? Do I just leave? Do you want to come get me? What do I do? I was freaking out. And he's like, you got to go. You have to go and finish this or else, I mean, you'll be on the run the rest of your life to avoid, you know, a 3-year jail sentence.
You didn't know that this place wouldn't be nice.
I had no idea.
This 90 place.
No idea. But I was just like, after you do 39 days, after other rehabs before, it's like you get to the end of your rope. And it's like, I got to keep going. It's almost like you feel the end and that taste of freedom is there. And I mean, think if you were a prisoner in like Alcatraz and you had a taste of freedom, would you want to go back into Alcatraz or do you want to just go on with, you know? So, I mean, that's an extreme, of course. It's not even in the same category, but that's how you feel. I was tempted just to leave, but I said, you know, I rationalized and said, okay, I got to keep going so I can get all this, you know.
And how's this place, this 90 place?
Oh my God. As I pulled up, I was on the phone with him, and I started crying immediately when I saw the place. Did you ever see the movie Girl Interrupted with Angelina Jolie, Winona Ryder? They're in a mental hospital.
Mental hospital, right.
Well, this is where they shot it. So if you look at this disgusting facility in the movie, this is where I was. Where they do lobotomies and all kinds of crazy, yeah. It used to be Harrisburg State Hospital, and when the hospital actually closed down, they made it into a couple of different rehab facilities. So I look at the building and I see bars on the windows, and I'm already freaking out, because I'm used to like the country club setting, you know? So I immediately start crying, you gotta come get me, I can't do this, you have to come get me.
Could you call Connecticut, WWE, and say, send me to another place?
I did once I got in there.
Patch me through to Vince.
I did once I got in there.
And?
They said, absolutely not. This is the only thing we'll pay for. Ever again. Coincidentally, the Senate race had just ended. So as the Senate race was going on, they're paying $1,000 a day.
For the nice place.
As soon as the Senate race is over, guess how much this place cost a day? So you can just, $106 a day. It was on the wall, that's how I knew how much it cost. And I had to sign the papers for the financing. A 90-day treatment there would cost $9,000. So I got on the phone with the guy in developmental that's in charge of all that. His name's Bob. And I said, Bob, I can't be here. And it wasn't because of the posh, cushy thing I was used to. This is a state-run, state-funded facility, which means it's run by the prison system. I was the only one in there that wasn't on parole. I was the only person in there that didn't spend a year or more in jail. These are the people I was in there with.
What was your roommate?
You have 2 roommates. One just finished 14 months in jail, and one just finished 13 months in jail, and they were sent there on parole. So they have to do 90 days in there on parole before they go to a halfway house before they can finally be released. It's part of the whole program they do. So I was the only person in there not on parole and not straight from over a year sentence in jail.
Could you get to Vince directly?
They would not. They would not let me talk to anyone else. And this place only allows you to make 1 phone call when you get there, and then you're on a 2-week call blackout. You can't even call your lawyer in those 2 weeks. And then you're only allowed 1 phone call, 1 10-minute phone call a week after that. So you're cut off from the world.
How long did you do in there?
Well, I struggled through, what did I do? 38 days. 77.
In that place?
Yeah. 77 days total between the two places. But the place was disgusting. The health inspectors were coming every single week to do inspections, and it was on the verge of being shut down every week. There is no cleaning staff. The clients, as they call them, I call them inmates, but the clients are the cleaners. We had to scrub bathrooms, we had to scrub toilets, we had to scrub floors, walls, everything.
And if you don't do a good job, it just stays that way.
No, you have to redo it. Their form of punishment, if you do something wrong, is you have to wash dishes from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. every day for a week. And you're not allowed to sit. 6 a.m. to 11 p.m., you're on your feet washing dishes. And when the dishes are all washed, you put them all back in and you rewash them. It's called continuous pan LE. LE means learning experience. So basically, it wasn't a rehab. It was behavior modification. They take parolees out of jail and try to teach them behavior so when they get out on the street, they don't end up back in jail.
Did you feel safe in that environment?
No. It's one of the things I told WWE when I called them when I first got there. I said, listen, I don't feel safe here. I'm here with a bunch of people straight out of jail. I said, granted, I spent 8 days, but 8 days is a lot different from a 14-month sentence that these people are doing. One guy was in there for 5. He was in jail for 5 years because he kidnapped another drug dealer and threatened to kill him. He just came out of prison from 5 years. I mean, there is some crazy stuff going on in here. And I said, I don't feel safe here. Like I was constantly shaking. I was constantly nervous. And I'm like, and they were like, no, this is where you have to be. So I talked to the program director of the place, and I said to him too, I said, listen, I said, I'm going to write something on paper. And I did. I wrote a formal thing on paper saying, I'm afraid for my safety here. I need to get transferred to another facility because they have other like sister facilities of this place that the funding would have been okay, but like that are better. Mm-hmm. Turns out, I found out that this was the worst of the entire like line of, behavior modification facilities. And the guy looked at me. He goes, "With what you do for a living, you're not afraid of your safety." He basically laughed it off and tried to say that I was making it up. I'm like, dude. I'm not a real fighter. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm not, begging people to come and attack me so I can, like, prove myself. I said, this is ridiculous here, what I'm going to, and nobody cared. Nobody cared at all. So I had to make it through 38 days, and on my 38th day, I was discharged from there, too, kicked out.
Did you ever have an incident there? You were afraid for your safety, but did anything ever?
Yeah, that's why I got kicked out. I did 38 days. That's when I was discharged. On my 36th day, I'm sitting at dinner. Oh, that's another thing. We all have to cook for each other. There's no cook staff either.
Well, you're a good cook, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, but because when you like to do something, they don't let you do it because they don't want you to enjoy yourself.
I see.
But one day a week, I was allowed in there to cook. But I'm sitting here at dinner, and this girl is sitting across from me. I was talking to another girl. I was actually talking to my roommate. For some reason, this girl, this 210-pound white girl that thought she was black because she's from the streets and in jail, she thought we were talking about her, which we weren't. And I said, Shannon, we're not even talking about you. Just mind your own business. We were talking about something else. Well, she didn't want to hear that, so she threw a glass at my face. The glass hit me right here. Well, she threw the liquid at, and then followed by the glass. The base of the glass hit me right here in the cheek and immediately swelled up. And I was in shock. I'm like, what the hell just happened? So she stands up. So if somebody stands up in your face, what's your instinct? You stand up. She's like, come on, bitch, hit me. You think you're a big, tough wrestler, and so I have to deal with this now. I'm like, Shannon, just cut it out. So she's threatening. She's like, come on, hit me. I'm like, Shannon, I'm not going to hit you. I'm a 40-year-old adult. I'm not going to hit you. She was 18. I go out into the hallway, and I'm backing down the hallway. I said, my hands are in the air like this, and I'm like, just stop right now. All of a sudden, she starts throwing. So she throws 3 or 4 of the worst girl punches possibly on the face of the earth, which don't hurt, of course. And because she's such a big girl, she loses her balance. So I just used some leverage. I took her down to the ground and restrained her with my knee on her throat, just pinned her down to the ground. I had my hands in the air again to show everyone I'm not hitting her. I'm not hitting her back. I'm not doing anything. I'm restraining her, holding her on the ground so she can stop hitting me. Meanwhile, she's got a handful of my hair pulling back, and I'm telling people, tell her to let go. And here's 2 counselors standing there watching, just watching. They didn't try to stop it. They didn't try to deter it after she threw the glass in my face. They didn't do anything. They stood there and watched like it was a show. So finally, after just like saying with my hands in the air, tell her to stop, tell her to calm down. I'm not going to do anything to her. Just take control over this. Finally, one counselor goes, okay, get off of her. So I stood up and I backed away. I wanted to call my lawyer that night. They refused. I wanted to call the police that night and make a formal report. They wouldn't let me. They wouldn't even let me make a report. I wanted my face photographed. The staff wouldn't photograph my face, and they wouldn't let me call the police to come do it. They just wanted to like forget about the whole thing.
You were thrown out because of the fight.
She was thrown out that night.
Mm-hmm.
2 days later, they said they were discharging me, even though I didn't do anything to her.
Does that satisfy your obligation to the court?
No.
So where'd you go after
That made it 77 days. I was supposed to do 90.
Right.
So of course I'm freaking out. And at this point, I have my lawyer call the WWE, and they're like, no, we're not paying for anything else. And we were like, what? Like, no, we're not paying for any more rehab. We're like, well, you're the people who made me sit here in a place that I didn't feel safe and say, this is the only place you're going to pay for. And now, after I even put it on paper, I didn't feel safe, and I get attacked. They don't want to, it's not like that money that they were going to pay for 90 days has gone to waste. They get that refunded, but they don't want to apply to anywhere else. I was on my own. On my own.
You were angry with them. Yeah, but you can understand.
Would you be? Here's another reason I'm angry. When I called and I said I need another place to go, I'm getting discharged because I got attacked. I was attacked and assaulted.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get beat up because I can handle myself, but I was attacked and assaulted. I was not the instigator. I was not the aggressor. And they said to me, we're not paying for anything else. I said, well, how is it, and I'm going to use a name, I said, how is it that you can pay for Scott Hall to go to 12 rehabs, nice rehabs? They said to me on the phone, well, you're not Scott Hall. So for them to treat someone like that, when they pride themselves on their wellness policy and about how they want to take care of their employees and past employees, subject me to physical danger, not want to help me get into a different place, and then degrade me by saying, well, we don't care about you, you're not Scott Hall.
Do you think they
It was
were...
very insulting.